Hey, welcome back everybody to the TFL Podcast. Arch and Rowan the Boat with you here to talk Week 7. We're talking DFS, a bit of redraft as well. Arch, it's great to have you, mate. How are you?
Oh, doing well as always. Look, it's quite the operation getting everyone into bed as you are starting to learn, Rowan. But look, we're here. Things are semi-worked out outside of that door in this room. So we could see anything happen tonight. We could have a few walk-ins. But look, lay down the law. Don't come in.
No, that's right.
And so we'll see how we go.
Look. That's it. I'm only one kid. You got 4.
Yes.
Props to you, mate. I mean,
Yes.
You're crazy, but that's fine. We'll roll with that. No, anyway, we're here. We're here now. It's Thursday night here in South Australia, and we are excited to jump into Week 7 of the NFL season. It's been a good season so far, Chris. I've really enjoyed it.
I mean, last week the games are pretty boring. I'll be honest in the sort of main slate, but you know,
no, it's true. It wasn't many highlights, but I don't know. The primetime games seem to be rocking it.
Yeah.
Every
absolutely.
Week. It's been really good scheduling by NFL. Anyway,
yeah,
guys,
unfortunately, I'm in the middle of working in that point of time, and. Look, I'll be honest, the new workplace are unable to stream as much as I used to in my solo office that I used to have. So,
yeah, what are you sharing with, like 8 other people now?
Yeah, we need to work something out.
Yeah, that's right. Guys, if you're checking us out, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Go subscribe, hit like and subscribe if you're watching now. Thank you very much. And you can find us at the TFL Podcast. We also have a Patreon as well. We've got some guys we're jumping on our Discord. We'll talk about that in a second. And we have the TFLpodcast.com as well. 5-star reviews, of course. Always much appreciated. Yes. Share with your mates. Let everyone know. That would be fantastic. There you go. Yeah, Discord chat. It's been great, Arch, to jump on that with the guys and share our thoughts around the upcoming week and talk through the main slate with people and share lineups and all that kind of stuff. So Discord chat's great. If you want to get in a really positive community around DFS and stuff like that, then hit us up. It's $2 a month, isn't it, Arch?
Oh, that's Australian roll. Now,
That's
what
right.
I like, it helps me sharpen my focus. And if I'm thinking something, to just throw it in the Discord. What do you think of this? You know, I'm on the money here, and then to hear some positive or negative backs, give you something you haven't thought about. You just don't get that when you're playing DFS on your own. So get into a community. Hey, we've got one. Join ours.
That's it. Come on board, everybody. That would be fantastic. All right. Now, Arch, there's important news that we have to talk about.
Yes.
Do you want to talk to this? You've been a bit more engaged than I have recently within the news, but how about you? How about you share?
Yeah, obviously, DFS players in Australia got an email on the week. Was it Saturday morning? Letting us know that DraftKings are pulling out of Australia, ceasing operations from November 15, which, if I'm being honest, just sucks and is very disappointing, especially as DraftKings affiliates that we are. We didn't see that this coming either. Did we?
No, it was a surprise to us. It was a surprise.
Even our rep that we talked to, he was slightly blindsided. So it sort of came out of left field for a lot of people at DraftKings. Hence why, I guess everyone's shocked. There was no sort of pre-warning. So I had a meeting with our rep, I think just yesterday morning, Brad from Boston, and he gave us a little bit more info. And really it just comes down to we're a small market compared to the States. And in the States, not all the states have DFS legal, and so they want to put all their resources into opening up in other states and try to work through all those legal loopholes that I guess that's the reason why South Australia never got a Guernsey, is that we had different regulations that they had to get through, and so they didn't see the cost of trying to push through in Australia was worth it. They think there's more to be had in other states, so it was really just a business decision. what they've told us is that they've kept their licenses open and paying for them in Australia, which aren't cheap. So they've still got a sports book and a DFS license in Australia. So they've got the view that they will return at some stage. Now, obviously, when?
Yeah, good question.
And they could just be saying that to say, actually, piss off. But who knows? Like, we can only take them what they told us. So they've said that there's a chance that they'll come back. So look, we hope they do because as much we play Draft Stars and love Draft Stars, but the lure of DraftKings was those huge prize pools, and we don't have access to that now. So that's the disappointing thing. Interesting though. So November 15, you can still maintain your accounts on DraftKings.
Yeah.
They won't they won't cease to exist, but you just can't play in Australia. You can in New Zealand though, so they've kept it. I guess New Zealand's a little bit free flowing with stuff. So
yeah, I guess so.
Still open there, and any other countries that it's legal, you could still play. I guess technically, but I don't think you'd be able to deposit anymore.
No, I think they're going to have some rules around that. That's for sure. So yeah, disappointed along with you, Arch. It's not a great thing for us here in Australia, but
no, especially if you run a DFS pod, Rowan.
Yeah, that's right. If we're going to talk about this anyway, look, we're going to have to focus on Draft Stars.
Yeah, so Draft Stars our bread and butter now, isn't it? So
that's exactly right.
Most people listen here are from Australia, so that's where we're going to lean into. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll sort of still talk a little bit of DraftKings while we can still play it.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll be pulling out of that. So
yeah, that's it. That's where we're headed. So stick with us, guys, as we adjust to the news. I'm sure as you're adjusting to the news as well. And we're still going to talk matchups. We're still going to talk who the great plays are each and every week, whether that's redraft or DFS. So we're going to journey through that together. Now, Arch, we like to talk a little bit about the week that was. What's something that went really well for you in your games, your teams last week?
Not much.
Well, not too well.
Yeah, not much, mate. Look, I think, and listening to a lot of other people, the chalk went off last week. And so for someone who's trying to get that edge in GPPs, we don't want the chalk to go too well because that's
true.
What we're trying to avoid to play because when we can get that leverage, that's how we win contests. So, look, Chargers went missing. That didn't help as well. So I think a lot of my stacks were just a little bit too chalky, but not enough of the good chalk, and just not enough to get up there. So a lot of min cash, which wasn't good, but overall a bit down. Look, Tony's ankle didn't help as well. Like it was looking okay, and I had him in probably quite a few lineups, and that sunk a few. Kareem Hunt, I just went too hard on him as well. But looking back, it's like, of course, like it looked
it looked like a great play.
Looked like a great matchup, but also I probably should have just gone a bit more light on considering how popular he was going to be.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's it. I was pretty look in terms of the main slate. It wasn't looking super great for me until that last play of that CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott touchdown, because I played a few lineups with a Dak Prescott stack, and that is what, again, like 2 weeks ago, I played the Justin Herbert stack, and that came through for me. The Dak Prescott stack came through for me this week, which was, again, like I'm looking on Draft Stars now and looking back on that. Dak Prescott, 5% rostership. We've got CeeDee Lamb at 4%. And looking at that, was a big surprise to me, really, to see that. Again, I think this is a bit of a theme I'm seeing, at least for what worked out for me, is that every week we're talking about the chalk and we're talking about these stacks that, you're liking them, like everyone was on Lamar Jackson, who absolutely busted for everyone, Justin Herbert as well from a fantasy perspective, and Dak Prescott, who we know is a great quarterback, who we know can put up a lot of points on the board, so lowly rostered, which does my head in to think that he was only 5% in the competition. Like that's crazy to me. And so look, it's a last-ditch play. It's overtime. Sure,
Yep.
that comes through for you, which is great. But Prescott and CeeDee Lamb skyrocket me up to 192 points. Of course, I've put in 50 lineups in that, but again, what are we thinking when it comes to stacks? I think we have to appreciate who are the good quarterbacks. May they be in not a great matchup, for sure. Like against the Patriots, you thought maybe they don't need to pass it too much, so Prescott's not going to do too much. But they got to get up.
Yep.
And so Prescott's going to do something to make that happen. And of course, we saw New England really put up a good fight. So again, let's not underestimate the decent quarterbacks that are out there, even if their matchup is not looking too good.
For sure.
Arizona Cardinals defense also helped with 12 points. Cooper Kupp was great, obviously. Jonathan Taylor's great. I put in Sterling Shepard into that lineup, and I benefited off of the Tony chalk. And I think, again, that's the thing that we can think about. What's the chalk, and what's the opposite of that? Like, who's the other guy on the team that could benefit in that same kind of situation?
Yeah. Well, look, I was happy with a lot of the low-price guys that I sort of looked into. They actually had some good weeks.
Fantastic.
Paris Campbell caught that long. I think that might have been his one catch, but man, he got you there at 6K on Draft Stars, didn't he?
And there was plenty of tight ends as well that caught touchdowns. Mo Alley Cox caught a touchdown. Jared Cook caught a touchdown. Hunter Henry caught a touchdown. So there's plenty of those punt tight end guys that you could that were paying off for you and supporting that minimum kind of payment that you're putting into that spot as well. Anyway, we've talked enough. Let's jump into the weekly preview.
Oh, that's me. Oh yeah! Week 7 preview. Yeah!
I really hope the in-laws are listening at your house right now.
Look, our paper thin
Unless they've gone
here, so there's absolute certainty they're thinking, what the heck's going on over there? But
oh dear. Good question just come through on the YouTube chat here. How do you see roster percentages? Can you see them before games are played? Not before. So like the ones that I was talking about then from last week, I was reflecting back on the lineup. If you go back into the contest on Draft Stars or DraftKings, you'll find that there's the roster percentages attached to the players in terms of what was played. If we're thinking about predicting roster percentages, and that's all you'll ever find before a slate, the roster percentages are always predicted, and there's different sites that do that. I know the Fantasy Footballers, PFF, lots of DFS places offer roster percentages established to run. So if you're subscribed, that's when you can kind of find those projected roster percentages.
Yeah, I've only ever seen any decent rostership projections behind paywalls. And how accurate they are, obviously, like they're going to be different based on different contests as well. So, the cash versus GPP versus small GPP, large scale GPP, it's just a guide to, I guess, what are the players that people are talking about the most, and that sort of guides a little bit to, I guess, what the players that you think are chalk and you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, definitely. Let's jump into Thursday Night Football. We've got Cleveland taking on Denver. We've got Cleveland as 1.5 point favourites at the moment. Case Keenum comes in to start because Baker Mayfield is out, as well as Nick Chubb, as well as Kareem Hunt. So it's ugly. Jarvis Landry is not back yet. When we're talking Cleveland, I think there's also tackles that are also injured as well. So looking at this offense and all the injuries that they have is a scary proposition if you really have to bank anything on these guys. So I'm really nervous to play any Cleveland players this week. Really nervous because Denver has shown that they can be good on the defense, on the defensive side. So I'm looking at that and going, okay, there's question marks around all of that. Obviously, this is a showdown game if you're playing DFS, and depending on what site you're on, different prices, all that kind of stuff. I think there'll be people that will kind of push towards Dearness Johnson as the leading running back. We know that they can run the ball fairly well, but again, it really depends on what Case Keenum can do in that quarterback spot, whether he can actually hold the offense together or not. What are your impressions here, Arch?
Look, to be honest, I'm not excited about this game. I mean, it's one of those classic Thursday night footballs that we're just forced to watch, and that I'm just like, I guess we'll put a whole bunch of lineups and hope one hits, but nothing fills me with confidence. I just can't read it yet. I think there's some question marks about Bridgewater. Is he definitely playing? Do we know, Rowan?
There's still question marks around him. I think that.
I mean, if this is Drew Lock versus Case Keenum, I'm out. I'm not watching this.
No, it's not going to be a pretty sight. The other guy that's questionable is Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
If we're watching this game, if he's playing, I expect Case Keenum to pepper his favorite target or go to the guy that is open. And Odell Beckham Jr. has shown the last few weeks that he can get open. He had that. Yep. Baker had that horrible game 2 weeks ago where he was just missing Odell left, right, and center. So I expect if Case Keenum's going to go to anyone, it's going to be OBJ. They're going to work the offense through him. There's other guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones and Rashad Higgins. There's the tight ends, of course. So maybe expect the tight ends to get some dump-offs. I actually, when it comes to these two running backs, so there's Dearness Johnson and there's Demetric Felton. Felton is the guy that's shown to be a decent pass catcher. So if we're thinking of that, Case Keenum's going to be under pressure. He's going to want to dump it off. Then in a PPR format, which is what both Draft Stars and DraftKings is, then I don't mind Felton as a running back play. I think he might be under-owned compared to Dearness Johnson. So when we're thinking about that, Felton's probably a guy that I might be over the field on when it comes to this showdown slate. But you're right, Arch. This is ugly all round. So
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
If you pass catches for the Broncos, I think is also where you want to go because they've given up a stack to wide receivers. That's the Cleveland defense. They have been pretty good against the run. So because we know this is a 50-50 split between Gordon and Javonte Williams, really in terms of the opportunity that they're getting, I don't like either of them this week.
No.
So I will be playing pass catches. I unfortunately in our TFL home league, I have to play Melvin Gordon this week because of the apocalypse.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a second. So I'm real nervous about that because Javonte Williams can pull off big runs, but Melvin Gordon's shown that he's got a better awareness of the gaps and playing with the offensive line. So it's a bit ugly though because Cleveland is so good against the run. So yeah, it's going to be tricky. If I'm going to play this game, I'm going to be heavy on Denver pass catches and potentially play some Demetric Felton in there as well if they're playing catch up.
Yep.
Anyway, so there you go. There's that one. It's gross.
Let's get onto the main slate. Let's just get onto the main slate, can we please?
And we'll start with a cracker. A real cracker, actually.
Probably the best game on the slate.
For sure. So Tennessee taking on Kansas City. Kansas City are 5.5-point favorites, even after Tennessee beat Buffalo last week, which, I'm looking at this and going, Tennessee could easily win this match. 57.5-point total. That is huge. Yeah, absolutely huge.
We're looking at good, efficient offenses versus poor defenses, really, aren't we? And so I'm hoping. Well, I guess we're hoping for that back and forth. Such a high over/under, and it's less than a touchdown difference for implied team total. So. We just hope that if the teams are in it to win it, that we'll see a lot of offense. This is going to be a very popular game to stack.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is going to be the tricky thing. Where are you going to fit all these pieces? Because as soon as you play either Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, and Tyreek Hill, and you want to run it back with Derrick Henry, you've got nothing. You have nothing to spend anywhere else. So, I mean, it's just it's a bit of a mathy problem, this one. How are you going to fit them in? Do you play those secondary pieces?
Yeah, you have to get super different somewhere else, don't you?
Yes, you really do. But if you're only playing with the basement guys, then that's real tricky as well. I mean, look, you have to play this game, but the percentage of roster chips just going to be super high when it comes to it. So
what is Draft Stars' business in putting Derrick Henry below Aaron Jones in bloody salary this week? Like, look at that. I've put it on the screen here. Derrick Henry is only 16,600. Like, if we jump over to DraftKings, those guys that are leaving, they are not 9,000 over there, and basically it's 50,000 salary cap over there, so half. So there is a lot more value on the Draft Stars side. That is too cheap.
It's
Too
so
cheap.
cheap. It is so cheap.
It's only just $1,000 more than Darrell Henderson. Like,
Look, does this
crying
mean
out
for
loud.
the 50-cent micro, the $15 main competition on Draft Stars that we're going to see Derrick Henry be like 50%?
Well,
Like that's enormous.
I guess the thing is still the second most expensive out there, and so obviously it limits what you can still do out there, like elsewhere. But for what you get for Derrick Henry, like it's how do
These
you
are
not
his
play
last
him?
5 scores: 38.6, 34, 28.7, 22.4, 50.7.
I mean, it's going to take a brave man to fade him, and it's not going to be me. Like,
I mean, if you're multi-entering, then you can play. You play the Tannehill stack with
Sure.
AJ Brown. Looks like Julio Jones is going to miss most likely, so keep an eye on that. And that means AJ Brown's going to get peppered with targets. You'd think he came good in the second half against that in the Buffalo game. So a Tannehill Brown stack looks pretty good. But to be honest, I'd be happy to probably play Tannehill Brown and Derrick Henry in this, and then run it back with Tyreek Hill.
Derrick Henry is one of the only running backs that sort of still can correlate okay with their quarterback, without catching passes from him. It's a weird
Mr. Efficiency.
situation.
I know, but then he even is catching passes at the moment,
Yes.
which is crazy. So look, this game you could play anyone really. Is there anyone cheap that you're looking at, like a Nicole Hardman or Darrell Williams, right? Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still an IR, so Darrell Williams is the main running back, and he showed that he can do that role well last week.
Yep. Yeah, look, he's pushed up an extra $1,000 this week, so but still 11,000 is not much for someone who's going to see a big workload. Nicole Hardman is getting targets, but it's that wide receiver 2 in Kansas City is so hard to predict and rely on that when he's almost 9,000, Nicole Hardman, so he's probably not going to be someone I'm going to be looking at too much when it could easily be a Byron Pringle or Demarcus Robinson popping up and taking those touchdowns.
That's true. It's really hard to bet on who's going to be that
Josh
third
Gordon
guy. Oh, and Josh Gordon. Let's see what he does this week. I'm excited for Josh Gordon, but not for anything that I'm going to be playing in DFS. That's for sure. So now watch that. If Julio Jones is missing, if you do want to, I think Chester Rogers looks like the guy who's going to be the second in line in terms of pass catching for the Titans. So keep an eye on that. He's done okay in recent weeks. So what did he do last week? Let's just have a look. Chester Rogers. He's got the Q next to. Oh, he was woeful last week. One catch for 7 yards.
Yes.
Ignore that.
We'll edit that out. Pause for editing.
But no, that was because Julio Jones was there, right? A couple of weeks ago, 4.5, 11.3. So, guys, for a basement guy, he's someone that you can potentially play. Anyway, let's move on.
Yes.
To a woeful game.
Yes. It's
This
one
is a
we're not
story
going to
of
see much.
opposites.
We're not going to see much of this on Red Zone, are we?
No.
The Patriots are home against the Jets. 42.5 over under. Patriots are 7-point favorites.
I love that Jacoby Myers is priced higher than absolutely everyone else on the slate, except for Damian Harris on DraftKings. Damian Harris is 5,700 on DraftKings. Draft Stars, he's 9,300. He's $9,330. That's a great play here.
Yep.
Like if you want to get cheap, and that's what we like to do sometimes with these GPPs, right? You want to play the high ceiling wide receivers. And to do that, sometimes you have to plug in these cheap running backs. Damian Harris, look for his health, right? He's been dealing with niggles across the last month, but he's still out there. He's still playing. He was last week pretty solid. Obviously, Ramondre Stevenson had to come on in and carry the load a little bit. To get a touchdown, I think, as well, when Damian Harris was off hurt. But he was still out there. He didn't leave the game with he's not playing next week. So Damian Harris, 9,300 against the Jets in a game where you think the Patriots should just absolutely stay in control for the whole game. Damian Harris, I think, is a absolutely great play on DraftStars. So I love that. Anyone else you're happy to play, though, Arch?
Look, I don't mind the defenses, really. And even on the Jets side, Robert Saleh as the defense actually working pretty well, and you're going to get like if we always look for those cheap defenses that could do well, and I think against Mac Jones who could make some errors at 4,300, that's close to the bare minimum for a defense, and with potential for turnovers. Whereas on the other side, you have to pay up for the Patriots quite significantly at 7.7K.
Yeah,
that could be worth it, absolutely, because Zach Wilson's a turnover machine at the moment. But I think the Jets are someone I'd probably be looking at this stage to, I guess, allow me to get up to other places.
For sure. Football Outsiders, they do their DVOA rankings, and they've got them as the 21st best team in total DVOA, which is defense value over adjusted, I believe. And someone will shoot me down if I got that wrong. But essentially saying against the average, they're 21st against the average, and that's pretty good. Like, not pretty good, but it's middle tier. It's middle tier, and so it's not bad. It's not the woeful New York Jets defense that we've expected over the last few years. So yeah, I don't mind that, Arch. That's a decent call. Jamison Crowder, 6,600 on Draft Stars. Is that a PPR play that can possibly get you 10 points to fill that spot?
Could be, but again, They're road dogs. The point, and with super low over under on this game, like it's all pointing against avoid Jets, really.
Yeah, sure. All right, well, let's move on. Next game we've got Baltimore taking on Cincinnati. Yes. This is a game that I am quietly interested in.
Yeah,
we're looking at a Baltimore team that continues to find people being placed in IR.
Yes.
Their 17th player got put on IR today, which is just crazy. So, in terms of defense and what we're expecting to see out, yes, they've got some great players, right? They've got some great playmakers. But I'm looking at this going, Cincinnati's offense has been very solid. Jamar Chase, we all know what he's doing. One of the most explosive wide receivers that we've seen, can get down the field. I love watching him play. And then you've got, on the other side, Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, who, I mean, aside from last week where they just simply ran the ball, look, against Cincinnati, I don't mind Marquise Brown. I don't mind Mark Andrews coming here as a bit of a sneaky stack in a game that, I don't know, I think there'll be a low rostership for these guys. What do you think of this game, Arch?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'll look at the salaries. Travis Kelce at tight end is almost $7K, and it's then $4,000 lower. I get Mark Andrews, who is killing it. And to me, he's almost...
You mean 17 down to 13?
Yeah.
You said Kelce at 7K. I was like, hang on a second.
17K. Well, yeah, 16.8. Mark Andrews at 12.7. Like, it's ridiculous, like, the gap. And for some, I mean, Andrews is actually outperforming him lately. So, I do.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously we've came from last year. Mark Andrews disappointed, and I guess people are still wondering, but they're just winning through the air, aren't they? And Cincinnati are throwing the ball not as much as they were last year before Burrow's injury, and so this is a game potentially where they have to stay in it. What's hard is trying to work out what to do about the rest of Cincinnati's pass catchers, because I don't know if I would want to play anyone other than Jamar Chase.
I think it's fine to narrow your player pool like that, though. I think Jamar Chase, like in this slate, there are plenty of other pass catchers out there. I don't think you need to get too crazy here. What they call it, galaxy brain yourself, and try and let's pick Tyler Boyd. No, we got to go T Higgins. No, I think Jamar Chase is the guy. Yep. It's okay to stay safe, and if you don't like Jamar Chase, I think it's fine to go somewhere else and go to a different game here because. Like unless you're doing a Burrow stack, of course, then you kind of want Jamar Chase. But I don't know. I think Joe Mixon's shown that he's catching the ball a lot as well at the moment. CJ Uzomah is a cheap tight end. Like Uzomah caught a touchdown last week as well, and he's still priced there at 5,180 on DraftStars and 3,000 on DraftKings. Like he's a cheap tight end that's getting work. So I think he's a good play.
My one that I'm sort of interested in, and this is for season-long leagues as well, potentially, is Rashad Bateman.
Yeah. Cue him up.
He is someone who is 60-odd%. What have I had down here? 65% of snaps coming straight from injury. 6 targets, 22 routes run, and of those routes, 27% he was targeted on the routes that he ran. So
it's good.
He's someone I'm very much interested to keep an eye on. And if we look at his salary this week, what are we looking at here? So
7,800 on DraftStars, which is pretty good. You'll be able to fit that into a few lineups, that's for sure. Yeah. You don't have to get too much out of him.
Not stone minimum, obviously. No. But, I mean, we saw Devin Duvernay getting a lot of targets, running routes, but perhaps wasn't making as much. But Rashad Bateman is clearly the better talent than Devin Duvernay. And so they want to get him the ball more often. And so I think Bateman, look to see his snaps and routes increase, I think, this week.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he's a guy that we look at and could be the bit of a post-buy darling as well. We come to those rookies, they have that week off and they've focused a little bit more, they've learnt more, and then suddenly these rookies come out and show that, hey, I was drafted to be the guy, and I'll be the guy. I'm looking at guys like Jalen Waddle this year, who I think is going to have a great second half. He's showing up. Anyway, so I think there's great value in Rashad Bateman as well. Green Bay take on Washington. I know.
Yes.
Do we need to talk about Joe Mixon? I kind of mentioned it, but no.
Yeah. Look, what do you think? Do you like him?
Yeah, I do like him this week. I do.
Yeah, good price as well.
Yeah, for sure. Green Bay taking on Washington. Green Bay are 8.5-point favorites with a 49-point total. If I'm looking at defense, Washington, far out. What have they done with themselves?
I don't know.
29th ranked defense at the moment on Football Outsiders. Green Bay aren't that much better, mind you. They're 23rd, right? And they've got guys on IR. J.R. Alexander's not out there anymore. So this is a game where I'm looking at Terry McLaurin. I'm looking at... Now, I'm not necessarily looking at Antonio Gibson because he's got a big question mark against him. He's got so many niggles going on.
Yeah, well, it's shins. It needs rest, doesn't he? I can't... Yeah. If he plays, he's not going to be very good, is he?
I mean, my knowledge from shins comes from playing social basketball.
Yes.
And clearly that's enough.
You've had that dance as well? I've had a shin splint season.
It was bad.
Perfect. Loved it.
What a woeful experience that was. Clearly, probably nothing compared to what Antonio Gibson might be having to deal with. But
No. I think we're on the... don't sell yourself short, Ron. The injuries we have to monitor at Mars Stadium on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, look, they're bad. Right. Anyway, Antonio Gibson should probably have a rest. If we get news of that, J.D. McKissick... Look, I know that people say Jarrett Patterson's probably the guy that will take over the bulk of, the between the tackles kind of work. But J.D. McKissick has shown that he can do both in the past. He is serviceable, and he's a guy that knows this offense so well. J.D. McKissick is priced at close to stone minimum on DraftStars. He's $5,000 on DK, which is a bit more expensive. But again, anytime that I'm finding out that Antonio Gibson's out, especially against a not great defense like Green Bay, then I'm going to play J.D. McKissick.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, looking at Green Bay's defense, they're 28th in pass DVOA. And so the pass catchers are going to do stuff there. And, I mean, who have they got to catch passes other than Terry? Like Ricky Seals-Jones and McKissick. That's the state we're living in here. So, oh, man. I tell you what, the old bloody Taylor Heineke stacks were all the vogue last week, weren't they? And as something I... wanted to fade, and I sort of hesitantly put just a couple in a big multi-enter.
A few 50-cent entries there on DraftStars.
But, man, it was if you played him in cash, look at your process, guys. That was not a good play.
No, I think that's again, this comes down to what are we valuing these guys at? How much stock are we taking in 3 weeks, 4 weeks of performance versus, okay, what is actually this guy's talent level? Where are we seeing him at? Let's not lose sight of the big picture because, yes, all the guys on the field, every quarterback can probably have a top 10 week on their day. But let's think consistency. Let's think about what we're actually banking on. Let's be careful there. So, yeah, again, Taylor Heineke, I think I said on the show last week he was a big fade for me. So, yeah, so I'll take that one. But anyway, I think you can do... Can you do a Roger stack? Can you afford Devontae Adams?
I mean, you throw a couple in, but he definitely wouldn't be any single entry or 3 maxes for mine just because of how hard it would be to fill the rest of that lineup. I mean, it could pop, and maybe that's what... Yeah, and sometimes you need to get a bit crazy in 3 maxes to cash and win those sort of things. But, to me, it's a max multi-only proposition for me because also Rodgers isn't really getting there when Adams does anyway. He
has been super consistent last 3 weeks in terms of DK points. 23.7, 23.8, 24.1. Like he's not winning you a week, but he's not losing it either.
But you're paying for that a lot. And so for me, I don't mind sprinkling Adams into other lineups that has the salary available, but probably more light on the stacks with him.
Yeah, fair enough. Ricky Seals-Jones is coming up in price a little bit there. 8K.
He was about the same last week on Draft Stars. He was in the 8K range.
Oh, that's true. He was too. 3,700 DK is pretty good. I think you can still run with him there. So, again, though, there's no one else on the Packers side that I'm really keen for except Aaron Jones.
Yep.
And, again, Terry McLaurin's a great bring back. But, again, let's be hesitant on Taylor Heineke. Let's not put all our chips in that basket, that's for sure. Anyone cheap there you're looking at? I don't know if there's really anyone I can bring.
Tonyan's someone, I think, as a punt tight end that could... Could he catch touchdown? Yes, he could. Will he? Probably not, but he could.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid. I can't bring myself to do that.
He's going to have to catch one eventually, Rowan.
Does he? Is that the law?
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at last year. He's catching the touchdown this week, Ron.
All right, I'm looking forward to seeing Robert Tonyan being all of your lineups.
Yes.
Right. Fun.
Just read us an ad, would you? I want an ad.
All right. Well, if you want to get better at DFS, but you're not sure how, one of the best ways to improve your return on investment is to join a up-and-coming, thriving DFS community, and we hope to provide just that with our Patreon Discord server. So share your thoughts, discuss your process, share screenshots, and ask a heap of questions. That's what that space is for. We're all in this together, guys. So let's join up, grow together. We'll even share our cash game lineup of the week in that space. So to get in on the action, all you need to do is join our Patreon at patreon.com/the TFL podcast. Yes. Every tier is eligible for the Discord, with tiers starting at just $2 Australian a month. That's less than a cup of coffee. That's nothing.
Yes, it is.
Just come and join us at patreon.com/the TFL podcast. Everything, we appreciate your support. And so $2 a month, that helps give us, fancy little graphics and stuff like this on it makes it prettier to look at on YouTube. So all that kind of stuff, guys. We really appreciate the support. Here's
an example, Ron.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Ron, can I give you an example? Just pulling up the Discord right now.
Fantastic.
One of our patrons thoughts stacking up on Falcons, Dolphins because neither team has much defense. What are your thoughts? So it's just throwing out a question of a stack. And, what do you think? And so we'll get to that game
now.
Right now. How's that? What? Bloody hell! I didn't even think. Whoa! You almost think I planned that, Rowan.
Almost. I almost did. But then I thought, no, I know you, Chris. You were literally just fumbling your way into a fantastic segue. So well done.
Oh, that's the segue of the year. I mean, apart from me taking a victory lap prematurely. But join the Discord. I love the conversations that we have. Most days there'll be a couple things. We fly back and forth. What are you thinking? Generally on a Saturday, Sunday, I'll throw in what I'm running in cash as well for the week. And then I also just pop that on the Patreon site specifically as well, just for some ideas for the more safe plays. But I'm loving our Discord. It's to be honest, one of my favorite things I've done out of this podcast.
Fantastic.
So join patreon.com/the TFL podcast.
Hey, Chris, do you want to talk to us about that game that you just talked about?
Oh, what game? Oh, the one I was just saying. Oh, yeah. Atlanta at Miami, 47.5 over under, and Atlanta 2.5-point favorites. Look, this is sneakily stackable, Rowan.
Oh, yeah, 100% it is.
it is
100%
that
it is.
47-48 over-under range is that sort of range that typically hits the over more often than not. And when it's only a 2.5 point favourite, we're expecting a bit of back and forth, which keeps offenses going. So this is a game that actually could do all right. This could be a Matt Ryan week.
It could be. It could also be a Tua week because what we've got here is the 26th.
Tua still on the depth chart there, though, Rowan.
Oh, look. Look, I'm not here to talk
Twitter's
about...
stupid, isn't it?
I hate these just rumors. Just give me the news. Bloody hell. Miami here are 26th against the pass, and Atlanta are 30th against the pass in DVOA. So looking at this here, you got a great opportunity for both quarterbacks to find that 300-yard bonus. You've got a great opportunity for guys like Jalen Waddle. Oh, man. Like, seriously, Jalen Waddle. Love Jalen Waddle this week. He is still sitting there at barely... It's 10,600 on draft stars.
Yeah.
Like, that's so middle of the pack that he's a guy that we saw last week. Tua came back, and Waddle was the guy. He just found him in contest after contest after contest, and he was playing short field. He was just finding him in the midst of so much pressure. This connection that he got is fantastic to watch. So Jalen Waddle, I love this guy. He is a great wide receiver, and so cheap this week. 5,600 on DK is a little bit more expensive. I'll give you that, but still middle of the pack. And I think this guy can rake it in. I think this guy could have 6 receptions this week and put up a ton of yards. So look, Jalen Waddle I think is in a smash spot. Calvin Ridley is also in a smash spot, and he's only 13,700 as well.
Yeah,
like there is so many good players in this game.
Yes.
Like
obviously chances for disappointment, so you diversify around a Matt Ryan stack for sure. Running backs for Atlanta, how do you play them?
You play Cordero Patterson.
Yeah,
that's what you do. I think.
I love Derek. I think is it Derek Brown on Twitter just posted the preseason photo of Mike Davis's quads. Yeah, just no context, no comment, just.
That's
so.
fantastic.
Remember quads? Anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So no, look, it's score Darryl Patterson, right? And so
the big thing, okay, with Scordaro is that he played 59% of the snaps in week 5, which was the most he's played over the course of the year. Calvin Ridley was out that game. So I think we have to remember that, and he played a lot of slot snaps as well as playing running back snaps. And the thing is, though, obviously he's a gadget guy. They're using him, and they want to find him on the field. Like the week before when he played 30% of the snaps, he put up 30 points, fantasy points, which was stupid. So he's had 5 touchdowns on the year. They're finding him in the end zone. I don't know. I feel like there is a risk. There's something in the back of my head that says, will his snap share go down by a lot? But also,
and will it matter?
And will it matter? That's a big question. So with Calvin Ridley there, I don't know. But I think the thing is, Scordaro is the number 3 receiver after Pitts as well. So the number 3 receiver in a high-scoring, low pass defense game can do really well. Plus, if he's getting 10 carries to then put up 50 yards or something like that on the ground, I think look, you got to say that he's a safe play. I think he's a cash play for sure, especially on draft stars where he's only 11,000.
Yeah. Look, obviously he's probably the more expensive he's ever been though, and so that might people still will be scared off of him. I don't think he'll be super popular, but it's someone that I think I wouldn't play too heavily in GPPs though either. I don't think he's someone that. I don't know. I think I just need to think about him a little bit more, to be honest. Yeah,
for sure. But just look, these are his last 4 scores: 18.4, 34.6, 16.2, 23.9. At 11,000, you're happy with all of those scores.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe not the 16 so much, but you're getting by. So he's got the ability. He's got the ceiling. That's for sure. But he's got the floor as well. That's what we're looking at. So anyway, on the Dolphins side, running back Myles Gaskin, I guess, is the guy, but I guess not the guy. I don't know whether he's the guy. He's a conundrum.
But it could be the week he does well again. It's just, how do you do it? I don't know.
I'm just going to avoid it at all costs, I think. Even if he is basement price on draft stars at 8,000. It's a
Malcolm
tough
Brown's
one
way too involved for my liking. Jasicki, another
I
game
look
with 9 targets.
I think watch for the injuries, right? We got to look at Devontae Parker, what he's doing, and looking at Will Fuller's definitely not coming back. So I think if Devontae Parker's out, then I think Gesicki's a pretty safe tight end play.
Yep,
I don't mind him there. All right, moving on. You got the Giants taking on Carolina. It's going to be a little bit ugly this game. 43-point total. Carolina's a 3-point favorites. So looking here, Christian McCaffrey's still on IR. He's not coming back. DJ Moore, can you play him? Can you play Sam Darnold against the Giants? Giants have been giving up a decent amount to quarterbacks recently. So
yeah, but Darnold's had 6 interceptions over the last 3 weeks. Giants are a sneaky defense for mine.
That's a good point. I'll listen to that.
Great. Paying it's a bit over $5,000 though, so I think people understand that there's turnovers here. Without Christian McCaffrey, Sam Darnold's looked ordinary, hasn't he? Like the offense. Well, the offense has, and
Rule came out and said they want to get Chuba Hubbard more involved.
Yes.
As well, so maybe watch that against the Giants. Are we going to see? Is this the Chuba Hubbard game? Is this the game where he plays really, really well and provides a great safe play for us? I mean, in terms of what he's priced at, 11,000 on Draft Stars and what was it, 6,100 on DraftKings. So he looks like a better value on Draft Stars, and as a starting running back against a woeful Giants. Like if they're going to get in front, then you think that that's a decent play anyway.
Yeah, I don't mind Chuba. Look, DJ Moore as well, though. Like he's still someone that you can generally have some sort of faith in. I just worry that, but it's against the Giants. So if there's a game that they can do well without CMC, it's against the Giants' defense. You'd hope.
Yeah, you'd hope so. You really would hope so. Carolina have been decent on defense, so I'm not looking at anything there. On the Giants side, I mean, but do you go Sterling Shepard? Can you play the guy that is going to fill that spot that Kadarius Toney's leaving?
Yeah, to me, it's an awkward price at $11,000 on Draft Stars. It's that is his ceiling that high? Not really. Potentially,
no, you're right.
Like for the same price, you can get a Barkley in running back, and I think you're sort of more hopeful there, aren't you? So.
He's not practicing though, Barkley.
No.
He'll likely. They're saying here that he'll likely need to log 1 or 2 limited practices before he returns. So, just got to monitor that. Devontae Booker could receive another spot start if Barkley doesn't play, and I don't mind if that's the case. Then Booker here is sitting at $8,000 on Draft Stars, 5,500 on DK.
Yep.
So as that basement level running back on Draft Stars, I don't mind that if Booker is the one that gets up. We're looking there at Carolina, and they are 18th in rush DVOA, so middle of the pack. There's space there for Booker to potentially get some work. So just keep an eye out. You got to keep an eye on that Barkley news, that's for sure.
Yep. All right. Next one.
Yeah, let's talk about Las Vegas and Philly. Las Vegas 3 points favorites, and they are Grudenless, and the sideline is a world of peace and harmony, according to Josh Jacobs. And
is that right?
Well, yeah, he came out. Apparently, there was someone tweeted, I can't remember, a reporter who had interviewed Josh Jacobs. What was it like without Gruden on the sideline? It's like, oh, well, there wasn't as much yelling.
Oh, dear.
And Derek Carr seems to be a bit more at ease. I'm like, oh, that's nice. I mean, we saw a pretty decent showing from the Vegas Raiders last week. Yeah, Henry Ruggs came out of his shell, and there was some great passes to him. Look, Darren Waller is still getting on my nerves.
What's he doing?
He's just not. Well, he gets 19 targets on week 1, and then I don't think he's seen more than 8 since.
Yeah, he got 5.
Hasn't done much.
5 last week, but he caught all 5 of them. So
well
maybe
done.
just throw the ball his way.
My redraft teams would be very appreciative if that was the case. On DFS, though, on Draft Stars, he's only 11,800. You've got him at 6,700 on DraftKings. Philly. I
still would rather Mark Andrews at a very similar price. Or,
there's 1,000 difference. Yeah. There's 1,000 difference. Philly, though, look, they've been Philly still, look, they're 12th against the pass, so middle of the road there. Darren Waller, though, it depends what they go for. If they can stop the outside plays, then obviously Waller is going to be the guy, but I don't know if it turns around this week. That's the thing. I just don't know if if we're going to get the ceiling Waller. But that being said, it could really happen. So,
a GPP play for sure. I think he's someone that will be lowly owned. And if there's someone, if there's plays I like in GPPs, it's good players that people are off because, the talent's there. They're going to do well. And so he's someone that I'll definitely sprinkle in a few. Won't be in my cash lineup. I just can't trust him at that salary. But if he goes off in a GPP, that's slate breaking material with his current popularity. He's hurting redraft teams, and so he's not going to be played much, as I don't think anyway. Especially when Andrews and Pitts are either side of him in salary.
Yeah, for sure. What do you make then of a guy like Derek Carr? Like, we've always seen him as this middle-of-the-road quarterback, and to start off the year, well, weeks 2 to 4, he went 28, 27.2, 25.2, which at his price is great value. Then he dropped off big time. Weeks 5 and 6, 15.4. Weeks 4 and 5, 15.4 and 8.2. And then last week came back with the 24.5, which was really solid. He's coming up against Philly, who, let's be honest, they're pretty average. I don't like supporting them at the moment.
But their offense is enough to get scored. Like Jalen Hurts,
like they'll keep things moving. Yeah, 100%. That's right.
It's a game I think
is an opposite stack from Philly side.
Yeah, look, it's a game I think the pace is going to be up. The over-under is just shy under 50. I think this is a game that I think people might overlook when they look for their stacks. And I think a Carr and a Waller could actually be something that could gain you a lot of leverage on the field if they hit.
For sure.
Throw in someone like maybe a Quez Watkins at basement price, who potentially is taking what we hoped for Rager, really. Like, he's doing good things.
Quez is... Look, here's the thing, though. Jalen Rager had 3 targets and gained yardage in all those targets, but it wasn't through catching the ball. It was through defensive pass interference. And 2 of them, and 1 should have been. He gained 95 yards for the team in penalties. Yeah, that was something else. But you're right. Quez Watkins, he's an interesting play because if you're looking for floor, his floor is about 6.5 points, which for a guy that's at basement price can be fine. But if he catches a touchdown, if he gets an extended play, then you're right. He's a guy that can make that work for you. So I think he's one of those low price players that has the potential to not kill your lineup, but can actually help win it. So no, I don't mind that one from you, Arch. It's a good one. What about Ruggs? His price there, draft stars 8,700, 5,500 on DK. We saw the big playability last week. Is he finally warming into this offense, and are we going to see something great from him?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think what I'll be looking at doing out of this game is, I think, if I put in, let's say 6 Carr stacks, I'd probably be looking at 4 of them to have Waller, and then rotate around, bring back pieces, and then maybe 2 of them would be a Ruggs, or maybe throwing in an Edwards or a Renfro or something like that on top, just in case. But look, Ruggs definitely has that ability. Like, the price is just astronomically low, and he's someone that could get ignored at that price as well, because a lot of players will jump down to look for the 6K guys, and if we look at around where Ruggs is, Darnell Mooney's below him, and he's got probably more of the favourable vibe on the Twitter sphere. Above him, AJ Green as well. Probably he's sandwiched between them, and a lot of people are probably just going to overlook Ruggs, and so chance for leverage. But do I have much confidence in him? Absolutely not. But the more I understand this DFS game, it's a maths problem rather than a football knowledge problem, and I think it's about how do we get different, and for when the hits happen. Because we don't want to min cash. We want to win contests.
That's right.
And so how do we do that? We have to get different and hope for those sort of games to hit.
Yeah, that's it. Price you guys, put you guys together in price allocations, then go. Yeah, think about what's the likelihood here. Who could go off more than the other, and work your way around that. Dallas Goedert, price there 8,400 on Draft Stars. He's coming in with no Ertz.
Yes,
and
interesting.
Let's see how this works for Dallas Goedert. I look. We've got Hurts with the best neutral pass rate in the competition. So Dallas Goedert's in line for a lot of catches. I think we're going to see him surprise people from here on out with no Ertz. All right. The Rams taking on Detroit. The Rams are 15-point favorites, 50.5 point total. Wow. I don't know if I want to, like, DeAndre Swift's probably the only line that I'll be happy to play. TJ Hawkinson is not showing much.
Nah.
On the other side, though, happy to play anybody.
Yes. So many pieces.
Like Stafford and Kupp could just be the absolutely gun-winning stack here that we're... but also look for Robert Woods and mix him in. Tyler Higbee, well, the other tight end that wasn't pass catching so much, Munt, he's out, done his ACL. So Tyler Higbee, his snap count and his route running count went up last week after Munt went down. So look for Higbee. He could be the tight end to own this week. I mean, you could potentially run it back with the Monra St. Brown, but otherwise,
not interested.
Or is this just a Darrell Henderson week, and we just go, that is the play? He's priced up at 15,000.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it's such a heavy favourite, and so they potentially sit on that run, and the Stafford takes it a little bit easy. Saying that, they're probably going to kill him, and so Kupp's going to probably hit 5 touchdowns or something like that.
That would be awesome.
Kupp still, I think, okay price at $16K with what he's doing.
Yeah,
I'll take his production at $16K in a heartbeat. He's $3,000 less than Devontae Adams. Like, why? Like, is it just because of name?
I think it is, but everything about this new offense with Stafford is showing that Kupp is an elite wide receiver. Yeah, happy to run with him everywhere. I could do a Stafford Kupp Woods stack and run it back with DeAndre Swift and be very happy with that. I think you'll see that work. I think you really will. I think you'll see that work. Potentially Van Jefferson as a punt play, 7,500 on Draft Stars. That's not too bad. I don't mind Van Jefferson for what he can do. Like we've seen that, big 50-yard touchdown kind of type thing going on for him. So yeah, just I'd slip him into a few of those multi-entries if you're going with it. Next up, we got Tampa Bay taking on Chicago. Justin Fields is once again going to get pummeled into the ground. So that defense, the Buccaneers defense, priced at 7,600 is a lot. But it might also just be worth it.
To get 17 points just from sacks alone is going to be amazing. So,
yeah, that's it. Man, Justin Fields loves to take a sack.
Oh, man, it's just, poor guy. Bloody hell. Someone, just let them have an extra offensive lineman. Like, just let them have one.
That's right. Let them have 12 players on the field. Chris Godwin is there at 14,000, but only 5,900 on DraftKings, so I don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette is turning into Mr. Consistent. This is it's bizarre. Did not think we'd
priced
be here.
Him up this week as well.
Yeah, 14,000. It's too much for me.
Yeah.
Like I think this is this is Tom Brady's passing offense. Yes, Fournette will probably get 3 or 4 catches in this offense. And so he could pay off. I'm not saying he won't, but if we're going to...
They're going to throw in Chicago, aren't they? They're not going to try to run it down their neck as much.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what we're going to see. So I'm looking here and I'm going, okay, I could do a Brady stack, but I don't know who I'd really bring it back with. You're looking at Damian Williams and Khalil Herbert. Damian Williams should be back from COVID. The COVID IR, Khalil Herbert back down at minimum price. He was great for us last week, though. Far out. Darnell Mooney is interesting.
Yeah, and if we could just talk the Chicago side, I've heard a lot this week about, is Fields going to be a chalk cash quarterback play? And you hear that and you're like, are you bloody kidding?
That's the joke.
I mean, this is the reasoning. He's 9,500 as a quarterback, and Tampa's strength on defense is the run blocking, stopping the run.
It's also creating sacks.
Yeah, and so Fields isn't rushing like we'd hope he would.
It's true.
And so he doesn't have that safe floor that I think people still somehow assume that he's this dual threat guy, which I think he can be and will be, but not in this iteration, especially not against a Tampa defense. So, look, I think he'll try to air it out a lot and quickly, and there's potential there, but a long way away from a bloody cash chalky play. That's I can't see that.
Look, I can't do it.
No.
I just can't do it. And if people do it and it works out for you, then power to you. But Justin Fields against this pass rush.
Pass rush.
My pass rush.
All right. Let's go to the last game, Rowan. We hit an hour.
Yeah, we have hit an hour. Arizona taking on Houston. Once again, it's like the Rams taking on Detroit. I feel this is Arizona all over.
17.5-point favorites.
That's just monstrous. So I'm looking at this. I'm going, James Conner actually looks good. This could be a really solid James Conner game. They'll use Chase Edmonds to get to the red zone, and then they'll use James Conner to score 5 touchdowns.
Punch it in. Yep, 9.5K. That's I don't mind that.
What do you think of these wide receivers on the Arizona side? It's
spread out.
It is very spread out. Hopkins is priced at 13,700 this week.
Yeah,
but they're not going to need to throw it that much. You'd imagine.
No, but at that price, if he gets 80 yards and a touchdown, you're sort of okay with that, aren't you?
Yeah, you're pretty happy.
Is he going to explode, though, to be able to win you a GPP? He could, if we see something out of Houston, which, David Mills has shown he can do something sometimes, but I think against an Arizona defense, it's just going to be painful for him.
Arizona have been a second best against the pass.
Yeah.
I can't see this working out.
No.
So this is play all your Cardinals and play your Cardinals receivers and just hope. Just hope that it works out for him. I mean, Houston as well, though. Houston are 11th against the pass. They're not that bad against the pass. Really, where they suffer is against the rush. They're 29th against the rush. So, again...
So do you what about a Kyler naked 17.5?
Yeah, 100%. This is a very viable option. Play Kyler, and heck, you could play Kyler and James Conner. You could play Kyler and Chase Edmonds this week. Chase Edmonds will catch a couple of passes, so if you really want to find some sort of correlation, you could kind of roll that way. But either way, again, nothing really to be said on the Houston side. I'm going to avoid all that.
Yep.
There we go. So that's the main slate.
That's the main slate.
There it is. 2 more games that come across our prime time screens. We've got San Francisco.
Quickly run through these.
Yeah, taking on Indianapolis. This will be an interesting game. I like Debo, of course. Jonathan Taylor has had a great few weeks, so he's really bounced back from that subpar start to the year, according to some anyway. Carson Wentz is looking good as well. He surprised me. He surprised me over the last couple of games. So, looking at that again, we're expecting Elijah Mitchell to be the main running back for San Francisco. Garoppolo should be back. That's right. The Trey Lance experiment seems to be put on pause. Yeah, we'll pause it because look, he's just a rookie quarterback
as well, isn't he? So.
He's got some niggles, that's for sure. T.Y. Hilton came back, put up 80 yards and a touchdown, I believe, on Houston. Maybe not a touchdown, but either way, T.Y. Hilton. What do you? I can't quite get around these pass catches. It's still Michael Pittman Jr. for me.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's it. So one will pop up, but which one? Who knows? Move on.
Yeah, that's it. The next game after that is Seattle taking on New Orleans, and that's got some really interesting things around the running back. Alex Collins is dealing with a sore glute, and Pete Carroll saying, look, he's not ruling him out, so keep an eye on that. If he does fall out, you've got guys like Homer, DJ Dallas, and heck, Rashad Penny
is back?
Is designated to be back from IR as well, so he could be back this week also. So it's a real messy spot, and I'm relying on Alex Collins in a few leagues, and that's going to be real nervous. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's not fun. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf have to watch Geno Smith pass the ball to him, and that's not necessarily fun either. I mean, they were right in there with it against the Steelers last week. They could have won the game if Geno didn't bloody fumble the ball. Anyway, so Alvin Kamara, though, Jameis Winston, I feel like you could, if you're desperate, you could play him in your redraft leagues this week. But Kamara should be in a smash spot this week as well. Anyone else you want to comment on there? Nah. Cool. There it is, guys. Week 7. Yes. Hopefully, we've covered some of the things that you've been, asking questions about, being intrigued about this week. So,
how do I continue the conversation, Rowan?
Jump on Discord.
Yes.
Get on our Patreon. It's only $2 a month, and get involved. Get involved in the conversation. We'd love to see you. That'd be fantastic. Arch, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, as always.
As always, guys. All the best. May you win.
Yes.
Don't beat us. But you win everywhere else. That'd be great.
Look, if they beat us, fair play to them, and I'll claim it as a moral victory.
Do it. That's a good way of looking at it.
All right, let's get out of this bloody.
Catch you later, everyone. See ya.
Yes. Bye.